In this lesson, we will discuss more about the common denim trims and details and how to achieve them. We will cover the following: replacing smart trims, assigning 3D objects, customizing 3D objects. For this lesson, we will also be using the two garments, the jumpsuit and the jacket. You should continue from the file you used to complete the previous activity. In the Cloud library, we have other smart trims and buttons available. For example, the YKK libraries, etiquette libraries, and more. Let's try to replace the smart zipper on this jumpsuit with a metal zipper from the etiquette zipper library. First, we select the zipper type. We select the brass zipper teeth number 5. Next, we need to go to select a zipper. Since we have selected a zipper from the number 5 zipper type section, we will go to the number 5 zipper puller section and select the zipper puller we want. Once the trims are downloaded, we will go back to the Materials tab and we will drag and drop the new zipper to replace the old zipper. Then we drag the zipper puller over the new zipper in the Resource tab and select which element we want to replace, in this case, the zipper puller. We dress the garment briefly. Now we just need to add the color of the zipper puller and tape. Let's make it a metallic brass color to match the zipper teeth. This looks great. Note that the same method would apply if we want to replace the smart buttons. Pause the lesson here to finish replacing the zippers. Some common denim trims would be trims like rivets, eyelets, studs, and more. We can find some 3D trims available from the Cloud library. Let's download a rivet of your choice. You can select either option. Once downloaded, it will appear in the trim section of the resource pane. Additionally, we can also have 3D objects created and added in VStitcher. We have a library of 3D trims available for download if you would like to use. Once you download the library, you can add it into the library's dropdown like this. 3D object sizes can be adjusted in the Material Context view by clicking on Geometry. For example, let's adjust this 3D object size to 0.9 centimeters. Next, we need to check the connectors. Connectors are points on the 3D object that will attach the 3D object to the garment. Without the connectors, the 3D object will not stay on the garment when we simulate it. For 3D objects added from the VStitcher Cloud library, the connectors are already set up. Thus, we can leave them as they are. Next, we want to assign the object to the 3D garment. Adjusting the position of the 3D object is the same as any artwork or trim in the 2D window. We can adjust the color of the trim to be a brass color. We also want to have a metallic finish. To achieve that, we adjust the specular to 1 and the roughness to about 0.5. and metalness to 1. If we want to assign a 3D object to a symmetrical pattern, we select the trim in the 2D window, then select Magic Mirror, and select Clone and Rotate. Once a 3D object has been assigned, we will need to dress the garment briefly to ensure the 3D object simulates on the garment properly. Another way is to add an external 3D object via the Garment tab. As an example, let's add a 3D pearl by clicking on the hamburger menu and selecting Add Piece Assignable Trims. Then we can select the fullpearl.u3ma file. As an example, we have assigned the pearls to the yoke of the denim jacket. We can adjust the color of the trim to make it more pearl-like. We select an off-white color, reduce the roughness, and increase the metalness. Pause the lesson here to assign the 3D trims to the garment. There are no specifications, but you can use this time to practice. When customizing 3D objects in VStitcher, we first must ensure that the 3D object has a UV map. To know if it has a UV map, the maps like diffuse, specular, normal, etc. will not be grayed out in the context view. Here's an example of a 3D object without a UV map, and you can see the maps are grayed out. If we want to adjust the texture of this snap button, we can click on the diffuse map, then select the texture that we want. When working with maps for 3D objects, the texture, transformation, and tiling settings are disabled for 3D trims. In this case, we need to ensure when obtaining or creating the images we want to use for the button, it must be the exact dimension as the button we are adding it into. Meaning that the image should be a square image like this. If the image is not in the correct dimensions, the image will not align nicely on the 3D button. The shape of the 3D button will also affect how the image wraps the object. We recommend that you have a 3D expert to create the maps for more complex 3D objects. Now, since the diffuse map is already colored, we can reset the color of the diffuse so that it will show its true color. Don't forget to change the color blending mode back to overlay. Apart from the diffuse map, we can also add the other maps, for example, the normal map. Let's try adding a normal map for this button. The normal map is the one labeled _nrm.png. Once added, you can see the texture appear on the 3D object, and we can adjust the depth of the normal map using the slider. Take some time to add the maps to the smart buttons of the jacket. In this lesson, we've learned to add and customize 3D objects.